About the schools that are represented in the final. We see some wrestlers from the quote-unquote superpowers, but it's more spread out this year.
Matt, there were 25 schools represented this morning. That's a tremendous amount to be represented in the morning round. No one had more than 4, or a few schools had 3. No one has dominated Region 3 this year.
The quarterfinals were held last evening, the semifinals this morning, so in less than 24 hours, these wrestlers have gone through an awful emotional experience, a physical challenge. What has to happen? What do they have to do to get through the next 6 minutes?
Now there's the mental preparation, not just the athletic ability that they obviously have to be at this point. It's being ready when they take the mat. It's breaking a sweat. It's having that perspiration kind of be felt throughout the body so that they don't make the mistake in the first 30 seconds when they hit their feet on the mat. That's going to be the key for our final.
All right, the wrestlers are being introduced to the crowd at hand here at Union High School. The Region 3 championships are just moments away. We're going to take a short break. We'll come back with the 103-pound bout right after this.
Smooth on the mat, Klein a little more aggressive at the end, and it resulted in his championship.
A little bit of a delay taken here as the 103-pound winners are being acknowledged, or the winner and the runner-up and third-place finisher being acknowledged and honored. And we hope to be able to speak with some of the winners as the day progresses. We're now ready for the 119-pound title bout. Saverio Marinelli and Paco Gonzalez. Marinelli from Hanover Park, Gonzalez, local product out of Westfield.
Two wrestlers that are almost mirror images of one another for their moves. Marinelli possibly the stronger of the two physically, both coming off very, very tough morning bouts. Marinelli hanging on for a 9-8 victory over Greg Marsh of Milburn, and Paco Gonzalez with a hard 8-6 victory over Jose Herfano of New Providence. Herfano coming back to beat Marsh 20-6 for third place. And we see what we mean here. Both wrestlers going after one another. Almost a takedown, but again, fought off by Gonzalez.
Gonzalez, a 3-time district champion in District 11, also won the Union County title. Marinelli, the District 9 champion this year, 24-2-1 this season, compared to 23-2-1 for Gonzalez.
Both wrestlers with very, very wide bases, ready to sprawl, ready to counter. It's Gonzalez pushing Marinelli backward.
I think, Jerry, we're seeing another example of wrestlers who just feeling each other out in the early going.
When they're so evenly matched, Matt, and one doesn't want to make that 4-point mistake at the beginning. You can bounce back from giving up 2, but when they are so equal on ability to be taken down to your back and be down by 4 or by 5 points, you might not be able to come back from it. Marinelli was going to pop the head out and come behind for the early lead.
Ten seconds remaining in the first period. Marinelli leading over Paco Gonzalez 2-0. And we have a stalling call placed against Marinelli.
Allowed 5 seconds to stand behind your opponent and hold on and try and bring him to the mat. Marinelli was content to stand there and ended up with being hit for a stall. Again, that Gonzalez win was in overtime over Herfano. And we saw Saxa lose at the first weight class. He had come off in overtime in the morning. We see Gonzalez behind here by 2 at the end of the first period.
Of course, that overtime, the way it is set up this year, the first time that they have utilized the college formula to decide overtime, and has proven to be very successful, very entertaining, and I think everyone likes it.
I know no one that is displeased with it. When I started with my coaching, it was the official on the mat that made the decision, and then we went to that official and 2 sitting on the side, and then we went to criteria, and all had dramatic faults, and now we don't have that. It comes down to the 2 young men involved, and that's how the winner is decided. Gonzalez fighting hard to try and get free. Marinelli holding on to that leg. Attempted a cradle.
I heard some people this morning commenting on Gonzalez's improvement this year as a wrestler, thinking that he was much better than last year.
I watched him both years. He is a nicer wrestler this year, but I was impressed with him last year. He's become a much better wrestler on his feet and much better getting out from the bottom. We see him doing just that to get 1 point here for an escape, and he has Marinelli's leg. He's keeping himself on the mat, pulling Marinelli back. He'd like to continue to move behind. Limp arm, almost gets two, still in a neutral position.
Under a minute to go in the second period. At the conclusion of this 119-pound bout, we will speak with Jamie Tracy, the winner at 103 pounds. And we invite you to stay with us for that, as we will try to speak with a number of the winners throughout the course of our coverage of the Region 3 Championships.
Marinelli shoots nicely on the leg, begins to move to the side. Gonzalez keeping the balance on the one leg, doesn't want to be taken to the mat. No control yet. He's on the mat, but there is no control. And he breaks free. Nice job of fighting off that single leg. Marinelli shoots from too far out. An opportunity for Gonzalez to circle, but doesn't take advantage of it. Marinelli gets the two as the period comes to a close end here.
And he'll take a 4-1 advantage with him into the third period. Westfield this year finished 13-2 under Don McDonald. Hanover Park 5-7-1.
Marinelli with a nice single. Gonzalez trying to fight it off with a whizzer. But Marinelli moves into that whizzer, gets the control with 5 seconds to go at the end of period number 2. Marinelli rapidly out in front. Soon to get at least 1 point if he can break that hold over his leg, and gets it.
And so he boosts his lead to 5-1. And now Gonzalez has the difficult task of coming back against Marinelli. Finds himself trailing by 4 with 1:30 to go in the third period.
There was some talk, Matt, in between sessions that Paco Gonzalez might have suffered some very severe cartilage damage to his knee. There was some talk as to whether he was going to wrestle in the finals today. He has obviously opted to do that. How much that's hindering him at this point, we're not sure, but some of the young men who were in the locker room said that it was swollen very, very severely. So it's not just a tape job and not just a sprain, but possibly some real damage to that leg. He has been hit again for backing away, and maybe that is understandable with that knee. And as a result, we do have that 5-1 score and a warning against Gonzalez. But it is Gonzalez that catches an extended Marinelli. Marinelli putting the hand up, and we have ourselves a tie match. There has to be the back points here, and it's just like that, 5-5.
It almost seems as if Marinelli heard us talking about that injured leg.
And
he went right for it.
after that leg, I was going to say.
He went right after it and left himself exposed.
He was not in close on his shot, and the nice thing was that Paco Gonzalez was waiting for it, took the catch, put Marinelli on the back. It's now Marinelli's head that's on the mat. Both stalling. 1 point each. Tressler, one riding parallel, and Marinelli's head on the mat.
So things don't change. 1 point added to each wrestler's total. So it stays 6-6 with 41 seconds left. That right knee, I'm sure, of Gonzalez bothering him, but at this point, not too much.
It's feeling better than when it was 5-1.
Yeah.
I can guarantee you that. Stalling against Gonzalez for holding on top. He had to work to get his opponent down.
And now, Jerry, does he let him up to try to take him
He
down?
sure does.
It's 7-6, Marinelli leading.
See the optional start.
Now it's 8-6. Half a minute to go.
And again, Matt, is fourth place important in this tournament? Yeah, it is, because if Gonzalez can't continue, Greg Marsh of Milburn will move into one of those slots and continue on in the tournament. So those people who are in fourth wondering whether they should feel very down, yes, they can, but maybe they can be in there. And it is Gonzalez with Marinelli flat, scooting behind. Nice high leg over, and it is a tie score with just 10 to wrestle.
Now can Gonzalez get any back points, or can Marinelli break free? And does he? No. Gonzalez had the left leg of Marinelli as the buzzer sounded, and so we will go into overtime. And folks, what it basically comes down to is the first wrestler who scores wins. All right, overtime it is. A 2-minute period to start things. First wrestler to score wins.
Marinelli that bores in. Paco Gonzalez that fights it off.
Under this format, you want to be aggressive because you know if you score, you win. But I'm sure there's just a seed of doubt in the back of your mind. If you make a bad shot, you're going to lose.
Remember, Matt, at the end of the 2 minutes, if there is no takedown, then one wrestler is up and one wrestler is down, and they go for 30 seconds. And if I ride you, I'm the winner. If you score on me, you're the winner. So it's not just this 2-minute period. Somebody has to win at the end of the 30 seconds following this 2-minute period. Shrug tried. Little throw by Gonzalez. Marinelli fights it off. You can imagine how the hearts are beating out there. Not just the 8-8 tie, but again, now into the overtime here at our third weight class.
In this morning's semifinals, of the bouts that went to overtime, we did not have any that went to that 30-second period where one wrestler was up and one was down. So you didn't have two cautious wrestlers out there waiting for the luck of the flip of the coin.
No, you did not.
.45 seconds left.
Pressure building for the takedown. Pressure building, knowing about the next period. Marinelli going backward. His coach is imploring him to move forward. They do not want. It's Paco in tight. He's in the position of advantage. He's the one moving behind. He's the one that's going to get the takedown if he gets the head out and the championship.
He pops it free and wins the crown. Well, at one point it was 5-1, and we said Gonzalez had the unenviable task of coming back from that deficit against the #1 seeded wrestler, and he did it with an injured right knee, and he does it in overtime.
5-2 in his first bout, 8-6 overtime this morning, and 10-8 here. He comes in tight. He locks on the leg. Right now, Marinelli has one shot to try and get Paco Gonzalez to his back, and he can't do it. Gonzalez moves behind. Pops the arm off, still has to get the head out. Marinelli can kind of feel himself losing it at this point. When that head comes out, there's the 2, and a fine championship for Paco Gonzalez.
He's got to feel awfully good about that.